Hello and welcome back to Daily Buying Tips. I'm Dean Berman from Berman Buys. Today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of houses versus villas, townhouses and units. Firstly, you have a Torrens title house. That's basically where you own the land and the house together. Whereas you have a strata title, basically means that you own a part of the strata. There are some differences between both ownership structures. Having a freestanding home, Torrens title, means you can virtually do what you want with the exterior outside of the property. In a strata complex, this would be very hard, as basically wouldn't be really possible unless you were able to get approval from the strata complex, the body corporate managing the strata. With the house, you can generally extend or rebuild. With a strata property, you're typically confined to the interior of the property, namely, for example, in a unit block. You can totally renovate the interiors. Houses tend to be slightly more secluded. In a strata complex, it tends to be more dense, so more built up, and you tend to be a bit closer to your neighbors, often divided by maybe a retaining, like a wall in between. Generally, houses tend to be more expensive than example, a strata property in that same neighborhood. Then again, this means you can probably purchase a strata property, for example, a unit, closer to the city than you would for that same house. You'd have to go further out for that house. Houses have historically appreciated more than strata property or units, for example. However, units or strata properties tend to yield in many cases better than houses because they tend to be in more prime locations, i.e. near amenities like transport and shops and work and schools, etc. There is a trend in society where we're building more dense and more high-rise type living. Some people don't like houses due to the maintenance and upkeep that is usually associated with, for example, maintaining the garden or the pool or the driveway or even the internals of the house. And some people, for this very fact, like strata because that external, the common property in the strata is maintained by the strata themselves, and you obviously do pay strata rates associated for that. You tend to pay strata rates, which many people also do not like, obviously. And in houses, there are no strata rates. Houses seem to be more associated with families. However, due to affordability constraints, I'm finding that society is becoming more open and more understanding relating to strata, and it's becoming more norm for everyone to, I guess, live in strata versus just living in the freestanding house. At the end of the day, it really comes down to affordability. If you really need to live in a certain area, but you simply can't afford houses, there's nothing wrong with a villa, townhouse, or a unit.